Alright, good morning everyone, it's Gaming Ribery here back again with stories from Soul the Gun Dog. Last time we took off the Gun Dog and board this armored frame called Gun Dog 1 in search for O'Brien with Hansen. We're a bit nauseous right now, I don't know what's going to happen after this. There's no way for you to be excited.
Do you know what? So if someone got trauma, the trauma is not just in their feeling but also in their body. So that's why this person right now is nauseous. I think Hansen also thinks the same. Also feels the same.
Hansen's trauma made him want to punch Waldo more than he
That's right.
usually would. There's no way for you to be exact, but it feels like at least half an hour has passed with neither of you saying anything. Eventually, the it's side by side. I thought they're like Hansen was in front and Waldo was behind him.
So this is pilot and co-pilot.
Yes.
Yeah.
You think about something you'd never thought you'd do, willingly start a conversation with Hansen. So where do you live?
Apologies.
Hey, so stop yourself wondering whether it's a good idea. You'd spend some time thinking about it after Cassie's response and your action had begun to weigh your mind. In the normal circumstances, you'd have never brought it up again, but considering that you and Hansen were both stuck together like this, you thought now would probably be the best chance to make things right. I wanted to say about the other day. Yeah, what? When you threw that sucker punch to try to impress your girlfriend? You hold your tongue and call me. True to form, Hansen wasn't making this easy, but you had committed yourself to the moral high ground and you weren't going to let him make you lose it. Yeah, that, I just wanted to... because that was a really weak hit. I've had rougher than that from girls back in Europe during shore leave, you know. So what about it? You saying you want to go for a round 2 when we get on the O'Brien? I just wanted to say that I'm sorry. Whatever. Tell him about the report.
Report what? Oh my god. The
captain's report.
Captain. Ooh, spicy.
Let's ask about the gun dog first. Small talk. Start before trailing off quickly as Hansen doesn't acknowledge you at all. How long have you been on the gun? Hansen gives a previous layer of acknowledgement but doesn't take his eye off the main monitor. What? I was just asking how long you've been stationed on the gun dog. Why? You're only seconds into this conversation, it's already one you're beginning to regret. I just, thought as I had heard people talking about your piloting and... Yeah, well, people can say whatever they like about my piloting. It doesn't make a difference because I've been stuck on this job of a ship for a year. Not that it matters. Every other pilot in JCF is doing nothing but drills right now. So who cares where I am? The first uncomfortable silence hangs in the air between the two of you as you mentally scramble for a response. So what are you doing in the ship anyway? How'd you screw up? Your first instinct to fire back at you that you aren't a screw up like him, but you can admit that Cassie had your transfer put through as a favor without the risk of it getting back to Vanessa. You didn't screw anything up, it just got transferred here short notice to fill the role, that's all. Yeah, whatever sir. Don't get dumped on the gun dog unless you've screwed up or a defective. So what was it? Neither. Yeah, sure. As the two of you continue to sit in silence and you watch Hansen making occasional minute adjustment to flight path of the Juno, you realize something. When you had read the report in Captain's quarter, you had been shocked, hit with a gut punch of realization. What had happened to you at the battle above Lunar could all be traced back to one woman, Mary's Bartholomews, your captain. Except it wasn't just you who had been there that day. You weren't the only one who was on board the ship that had been affected by her actions. Hansen had fought for his life as Kalite flight was wiped out around him and he had to survive in the combat zone for over 12 hours. What happened to Hansen, what he blamed you for, it hadn't been your fault. Now, finally you knew whose fault it was. You're gonna blame her? Really? The realization hung over you as you grappled with the situation. It's not like you were any closer to dealing with this information. Was there even any way that knowing could bring you closure? Couldn't bring back like Flight or any of the other pilots or crew of the ships that you had been lost. But still, if someone else had known, would you have wanted them to tell you? Would telling Hansen do you any good? Would it do anything for him? These thoughts almost overwhelm you as you try to wrestle with what you should do until you suddenly just blurt out. When I was in the captain's quarter, I found a report. Oh, what? I like that the head actually moves. You take a deep breath, you started now, and there was no going back. When I was in the captain's quarter looking for the codes to reactivate the gun dock, I found a report in the captain's desk. Yeah, okay, so why are you telling me this? It was about the battle above Lunar 4 years ago. As soon as you mention the battle, you hear Hansen take a sharp intake of breath and his flight stick creak as he squeezes both of them. In an instant, his whole body goes rigid. It was about the reason the enemy were able to outflank us, why they were able to break through the E field. See Hansen's expression shift into a grimace, but he still doesn't say anything. It was because Captain Bartholomew. She was Rear Admiral Bartholomew back then. She made an order that pulled the ships away from our rear defensive line. It left us wide open. That's why. Why the hell are you telling me this? Hansen yells, his fist lashing out and striking the control panel to his left side. Because it was her. She's the reason why we had to deal with that. What we deal with, she's responsible. Who cares? What's the difference does it make? It's this whole time it was. I know what it is. This is just you trying to worm your way out of your responsibility.
Oh no!
No, it wasn't my fault. It was. Shut up! Don't try and get out of this. Doesn't matter why it happened. You weren't there. You weren't there when we needed you. You were. It wasn't my fault. Just shut up! This time Hansen's fist connects with the side of his seat that yours is mounted to, making the whole thing shudder and activating the shock absorbers. With that, the two of you fall back into an uneasy silence. So,
oh no!
How's it live? How's life in Gandok? Desire to rekindle a conversation instead, allowing the silence to stretch on for the remaining duration of the journey. With no other sound beyond the almost imperceptible background noise of the cockpit and the Juno's monitor showing nothing but stars, your mind drifts, bouncing from thought to thought. The warmth of the cockpit and the gentle vibrations caused by the shuddering of the Juno's engines cause your thoughts to idle and slow, and eventually, without realizing it, you begin to drift off to what? Of course.
You able to sleep?
You're almost completely gone when both you and Hansen sit upright and fix your attention on the main monitor. Although there's nothing to see beyond the stars and the visual indicator, you know that this means the O'Brien is close by. We're here. Hansen mutters on to himself as he begins to flick switches on the control panels to his side. You watch silently as he works the pedals and flight sticks to reduce the Juno's speed. Gandok. This is Gandok 1. We've got target lock on the objective. I repeat, this is Gandok 1. We've got target lock on the objective.
Who is that?
No one, because no signal. Hansen scowls at the communication screen as it returns nothing but static and an indication it hasn't picked up any incoming signal. Quickly resets the switches on the control panel before activating them again. I repeat, Gandok, this is Gandok 1. We've got target lock on the objective. Do you read? Piece of junk. His foot strikes the paneling underneath the main monitor, causing it to flicker momentarily but doing nothing to help obtain a signal. With the O'Brien now visible on the screen, you remain silent as Hansen continues to deactivate and reactivate the Juno's transmission system. Gandok, this is Gandok 1. We've got target lock onto the objective. I repeat, Gandok, this is Gandok 1. We've got target lock. God damn it, Lord! Where the hell are you? Hello? Hello? This time Hansen's fist strikes the main monitor. It's gonna break, you know. You're gonna break it! Thankfully for both of you, the reinforced glass of its screen remains
Anger issue! Ooh, bad!
You move as far away from Hansen as the restraints of your temporary seat will allow. You always knew he was hot-headed, but that didn't make this any easier to deal with. Yeah, leave Hansen to it. You cross your arms and look away as Hansen continues to attempt re-establishing contact with Gandalf. Each time he does, his efforts are met with the same familiar static. Come on, what's wrong with this piece of crap? Gandalf, come in! Yeah! This carries on for a few more minutes, but you do nothing to attempt to offer a solution or solve the problem. In his current mood, you don't feel that Hansen would take any suggestion well. Eventually, he throws himself back in his seat, causing both his and yours to rock. As you steady yourself, he grips the twin flight sticks and increases the frame's thrust. Fine, not like we don't know we don't know what we're doing. There's Ganogwan, in case anyone out there can actually hear us, we're approaching the JFS O'Brien. They're carrying out the visual inspection of the O'Brien now. With the O'Brien now close enough for you to actually make out its finer details, Hansen decelerates the frame, bringing it to nearly a complete stop. Deftly adjusting the Juno's orientation, he then begins to circle the Swift-class ship, and the two of you focus on the monitor, trying to identify anything out of the ordinary on the O'Brien before you get closer. Wait a second, is that? You
What
point
is that?
to the O'Brien main airlock and Hansen quickly sets a camera to zoom in. Wide open.
it's
Looks
open.
like someone's tried the same stunt as you. No, that's not it. I closed the secondary airlock door behind me. Both of those are open, which means no oxygen! Oh my god!
Oh my god!
The ship must be completely depressurized. Yeah, if this happened when the power was off, none of the emergency bulkheads would have been able to close. The two of you sit in silence, both considering what you've just found out. If the same thing had happened to the O'Brien as the Gandak and someone had opened both airlocks, then what little breathable air was left on the ship would have been sucked out into space. We've still got a mission to do. Come on. You're not silently in agreement as Hansen, apparently sobered by that realization, moves the armored frame towards the airlock. This isn't necessarily the end, you think. If some of the crew were lucky, they might have been able to get their spacesuits on before they ran out of air. They'll be running low on oxygen by now, but this is Gandalf 1, docking with the O'Brien. Now only meters away from the other ship, Hansen brings the Juno to a complete stop, and with a surprising amount of delicacy, has it reached out with one arm, grabbing hold of a protrusion from the ship and coring itself. Alright, let's go. In a well-practiced motion, Hansen releases himself from his seat's harness, moves forward and grabs the lever to open the cockpit's hatch. As soon as it's open, you feel the rush of the cockpit's air escaping. Meanwhile, Hansen pulls himself out and steps into the airlock. Having a slightly harder time with the straps on your harness, it takes you a few moments longer to release yourself. Once free, you gather up the PST and the instructions the chief had given you before making your own way out of the Juno.
What is going on?
Two of you tentatively make your way from the airlock itself through to the room beyond. Although nothing is obviously broken or wrong, the fact that you're standing in an area identical to one on the Gundog but open to space and completely uninhabitable sends a shiver down your spine. Oh, I thought it's someone else.
Me too. I thought it was the alien, you know?
You look to Hansen and see him mouthing something that you can't hear. Continue to stand there in confused as Hansen wordlessly gestures at you until he looks exasperated. It takes you a moment, but you realize what's going on and reach up to the radio on your chest panel, flicking the switch that activates it. It's about time you figure that out, sir. Hansen's voice crackles over your helmet speaker. Unlike the Juno where the cockpit was pressurized so you could hear each other, you now find yourself standing in a complete vacuum. There's no sound where no sound can travel. So what's the plan? You turn to survey the empty void of the airlock. The first priority given by the captain was assisting the crew of the O'Brien to get their ship back online. But judging the current state of things, you weren't sure you would have much luck with that. The plan, you say to yourself more than to Hansen as you go over the current situation in your mind. That's right, Lieutenant, the plan. Right now you've got rank, so without Lord screeching down our comms line, this is on you. Unless you're after a trip down memory lane and want to sit in the Juno's cockpit whilst I do everything. A mix of shame and anger swells inside you as you bite your tongue to not snap at Hansen with the first thing that comes to mind. Stow it and sign. Despite the way he said it, he wasn't wrong. With nothing coming from the gun dock, you were now the highest ranking officer involved with this mission. Alright, his first priority was to assist the crew. It doesn't look like anyone is going to be in this part of the ship, but we still need to try. Since I've used the PST before, it's going to be easier for me to carry out that search. Whilst I'm doing that, you can start removing the ship's black box. You hold up the manila folder that the chief had given you onto the gun dock, and Hansen takes it from you, clumsily flicking through it with his gloved hands. It's on the bridge, huh? How are we going to get up there? Same way I did on the gun dock. Come on. Turn around and head into the ship, eventually arriving in the central hub. Oh, it's similar with gun dock. Okay then, Lieutenant. Now what? As you walk past Hansen to where the maintenance hatch is located, next to the elevators, you take the opportunity to quickly switch your radio off. Tell Hansen exactly what he can do next, then switch it back on. What's next? Inside. What's next inside is this. You run your finger down the seam between the panel and the wall and quickly find the catch. Unlike the one on the bridge, you're able to fit your suit's finger into this one and you quickly release it. As the hatch comes away in your hands, you wait to feel the sensation of air rushing out the crawlway. Fortunately, you feel nothing, confirming one of the fears you had about the ship and her crew. Placing the hatch down, you turn to Hansen, saying nothing about your discovery and instead gesturing to the ladder. At the top of this ladder, you'll find another panel like this one that leads to the bridge. To release it, all you need to do is push on the catch from the inside. Think you can handle that? What do you think, Lieutenant? You're not dealing with some dumb security officer here or anything. Let's let a pilot show you how it's done. With a swagger that's only exaggerated by the bulk of his suit, Hansen strides past you, steps into the access tunnel, and heads up the ladder. You take the opportunity to turn your radio off again and tell him what you really think about pilots. Once you're done, you switch it back on in case he sends any transmissions. Now that you've set him to work, it's up to you to try and find any survivor of the O'Brien crew and use their help to get the ship back online. You look around the empty central hub, the same silence that previously filled the gun dock now filling your helmet. After a moment of contemplation, you head towards the first place you think it may be fruitful to explore. Wait, that's the ladder? Panel was still attached, which means no one come down from the bridge. Not this way. Use. Sick bay. Dr. Rose, what's his name again? Reach out the maintenance crawlway and grab a rung on the ladder. Stepping forward, you place your feet onto another rung that you can barely see, and then instead of following Hansen up, you start moving downwards. As you descend, the crawlway eventually becomes completely dark. The only indication you're given that you've reached the bottom is when you bring your foot down and you unexpectedly stumble on the floor panel. No, it's actually black out now. It doesn't have any light in it. Now at the bottom of the shaft, you grope around in the darkness looking for the catch that will release the panel by the elevator into the sick bay. For a few minutes, sliding your palms around blindly, your suit's glove catches onto something. Investigate it with your fingertips to confirm it's what you're looking for before releasing it, grabbing the panel as it falls away and placing it to the side as you step through into the sick bay. Whoa, who's that? With no rush of air to indicate that you had the pressurize the room. You were almost entirely certain that you knew what to expect, but what you find goes beyond that. Behind the
What is going
desk,
on?
set to meet those who enter the sick bay, you see the crumpled form of someone wearing a white coat, much like Dr. Rosarium's.
Oh, Rosario.
You quickly make your way over to them, but as you do, you stop momentarily as you feel something crunching underneath your boots. Looking around you, you can see that the doctor is surrounded by broken glass. Taking stock of the room, you realize that the cabinets at the far end of the sick bay are all still locked, but the glass panel have been shattered and their contents scattered. Instead of trying to puzzle out what has happened, you turn your attention back to the door, kneeling down by them and gently turning
Doctor.
them over. You're faced with a woman who seemed to be in her mid-50s, her sandy hair done up in a loose bun with iron strands tucked behind her ears. You notice that of the two lenses set into her round wire-framed spectacles, one is cracked and the frames sit askew on her face. Although her pale blue eyes are wide open and staring at you, they don't move, and she does not blink. Her skin is pallid, matching the color of blue of her eyes, the striking red of her lipstick standing out in a dramatic contrast. You stay holding the doctor for a moment before gently laying her down, and with as much delicacy as you can manage in your bulky spacesuit, you close her eyes. As you stand up, you exhale deeply. Although it was almost certain this would be the scenario you'd be facing for most of the ship, since the central area had been depressurized with no safety measures engaged, you had been holding out hope that you would find crew members alive and well. Despite the sight of the doctor, you still hold on to that hope. You survey the room, you turn your attention back to the glass underfoot and the shattered front edge of the cabinets. What happened here?
Hulk.
The ship's doctor! It looks like she was involved in a struggle down here, but I can't tell whether she died before or after the ship was depressurized. Talk to Hansen. Use the bed! Sleep here! You expect it's still locked and doesn't budge. Looking down at your feet amongst various packets of medication that appears to have been hastily pulled out of the cabinet, you can see a selection of Nutri-Shake packets all torn open. Picking one up, you check its contents to find it's completely empty. Could this really have happened over nutritional supplements? A different one. As you turn the pouch over and look inside, you find it's completely empty of the powder that it should contain. Placing it back on the floor, you look around and realize that whilst all the boxes of medication are all still sealed, the packets you can see torn open are all Nutri-Shake packets. Is this alien?
Alien?
A bodybuilder alien that loves Nutri-Shake?
I don't know.
Someone really do all this for Nutri-Shakes? Yeah, it's alien. Bodybuilding alien needs Nutri-Shakes. That's why they're emitting signals that jam our what you call it again, electricity system, and then blackout happens. They can freely enjoy the Nutri-Shakes. I think that's
Yeah.
That's what
Alright.
happened.
Okay.
Having made your way back into the maintenance crawlway, you work your way up into the darkness. The dull starlight from the airlock that illuminates the central hub barely illuminating the exit above you. As you continue towards it, you pause as your radio hisses into life. Hello, Hansen?
Lieutenant Commander Queen from the GFS Gondok.
Cassie, what are you doing on this?
We're picking up your signal and have arrived at the rendezvous area. Please transmit your precise coordinates, over.
Cassie, what are you... Wait. Oh, O'Brien, what? we read you. That's the sweet voice you've got there, Gondok. I'm transmitting a coordinates and mission update files now. It's good to finally... What? This from when? Oh.
Roger that, GFS O'Brien. This is Lieutenant Commander Queen from the GFS Gondok.
Oh, this is just before the power went down.
We're picking up your signal and have arrived at the rendezvous area. Please transmit your precise coordinate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Oh yeah, oh my
snippet
god.
of conversation between Cassie and Lieutenant Bashir loops a few times until eventually fading out into static. With as little explanation as why the transmission started, it ends. Yeah, why? Exactly, why?
Yeah.
Damn, this is becoming a horror game? Wow.
Oh no!
Well, like two videos before this, we were fixing the power system with a PC, right? With the central
PC?
computer.
Oh,
And
yeah,
then
right.
it was bugged that shows Cassie's face over and over again.
Yeah.
It's kind of like foreshadowing. This is actually a horror game.
You know,
Maybe.
the kind of horror this game has is actually same like Interstellar.
Yeah, true.
It's really like very unease, you know.
As you move from Central Hub towards the
Is
darkness,
this psychological horror or
the app
something?
through where the psychological starts from the beginning. You see, the trauma.
Yeah, the trauma.
You stop to peer into the darkness ahead and catch a sight of a silhouette. Oh boy, hey, who's there? I'm from the Gondok. You call out using your radio to broadcast yourself. You're here to help. Come back. As the figure vanishes into the gloom, you dash after it, eventually arriving at the end of the long corridor that makes up the aft thoroughfare. Having headed past the armory, you move towards the end of the corridor, a dead end when considering the doors to the engineering department are sealed. Can you just imagine it? Turn around, trying to see if you had missed something, but with no sign of life here aside from yourself, you begin to doubt that you saw anything at all. This mission must be getting to me. Better get this over with before I start seeing things. Speaking of seeing things, this is unrelated to the game, but I want to say this in this video and to you guys. So I got addicted playing VR chat last year, right? And there is a horror experience in that game. I play VR chat using desktop PC, not a VR headset, right? Then I went to this Indonesian world. There's a lot of people right there. And suddenly, when I was talking to this one guy, like for 10 frames, not even a second, suddenly a guy teleported beside him, whispered something, then he was gone. There's like 10 people around me,
what is
around
that?
that guy that got whispered by someone mysterious, but I was the only one that saw that. I don't know what happened.
You got schizophrenia, I think, or something.
No. I wish I had recorded it because usually I play VR chat while recording to make some TikTok contents, right? But unfortunately, that day that thing happened. I didn't record.
Oh, sad. No.
It was really scary.
Yeah.
Crazy. Look. It's not worth trying to open. The odds of someone being here are slim, but it's worth checking. Okay, let's do that. Bracing yourself with your left hand against the wall. By the entrance to the armory, you bring your right hand down in a fist against the door. You continue to pound your fist against the unyielding entryway, hoping that if there's anyone in there and they have enough air, they'll be able to hear you and respond. After a few seconds of pounding, press your helmet against the door, hoping that you can pick up the vibrations of someone returning your signal. You're met with nothing but silence. You stand back and hammer on the door. Harder this time, after your fist begins to ache, you press your helmet back against the door's paneling, holding your breath and listening out for any signs of activity. With no sign of life, you dejectedly step back, giving the door one final slam with your fist and cursing the silence. Nope, nothing.
No?
Just like you had seen a few hours ago, where the after refresher turns from experience of crawling. You don't want to do that. Turn back, move away from the door. Okay. You don't want to do that. Too scary. too scary. Foresight. Hangar. Wait, no. Use hangar. As you make your way through the gloom of the Foresight thoroughfare, you absent-mindedly knock on the low-gravity warning sign just before the double doors that leads into the ship's hangar. Placing the portable stop terminal by your feet, you hammer on the doors with your fists, hoping anyone there alive. After around 10 seconds of this, you stop and press your helmet against the door. If there's any noises in there, the vibration should travel. Yes, it's the same! Hey, you can hear me in there? You call out, resuming your hammering of the door when you get no response. Hey, whoever's there, we're from the JFS Gundog. We're here to rescue you. Can you hear me? There's definitely someone in there. Although you're still not getting an obvious response, the knowledge that someone is in there fills you with a sense of urgency, and you hurriedly set your Zeus radio to broadcast. This is Lieutenant Waldo Shia of the JFS Gundog. We're here to provide assistance to any crew on the JFS O'Brien. I repeat, this is Lieutenant Waldo Shia of the JFS Gundog. We're here to provide assistance to any crew on the JFS O'Brien. Come on! Despite the signs that someone was still alive in there, with no way to get into the hangar and no response on the radio, you feel like you may as well be a million miles away from them. Picking up the portable sub-terminal, you look from one end of the Foresight thoroughfare to another. The presence of survivor you need to find a keycard belonging to a member of the crew, all the more urgent. A mess hall. Given the time when the Gundog and presumably the O'Brien had blanked, you knew there shouldn't have been anyone in the mess hall. Despite this, you also knew that it wasn't uncommon for crew members to disappear from the station briefly to grab a quick pick-me-up treat. Especially if their duty was quiet, and especially if that crew member's name was Cassandra Quinn. You go through the routine of hammering the door. Despite your best effort, you don't manage to get a response. Okay, where else? Let's do all of this. If there's nothing triggering, or if there is something triggering, we'll end the video right there. Central hub, fire control, I guess. Okay. We're giving another get in, attempts. Nothing. Move again. Through corridor.
Butte.
Why is it white? This is supposed to be gray instead of white because this is the narrator instead of the character. Some nitpicking bug. Familiarity of the door, the corridor, the thoroughfare, it all forces you to think how close the Gundog came to being out here before the O'Brien. You push that thought from your mind as close as it was to happening. It didn't. You were here now, not whoever lived behind that door. Pulling up your right hand into a fist, you hammer against the door, then place your helmet against it, waiting for response. No one is in. Alright. Last one.
Huh?
J. Bashir. Kenry.
No, nothing.
Captain's quarter. You approach the captain's quarter at the end of the corridor and see the same Jovian insignia as the one Captain Barter views door. Below it is a nameplate which proudly presents the O'Brien captain's full name, Paul Henry Higuera. Oh, it's Henry, not Kenry. As with all the other locked doors you had encountered so far, you begin by bracing yourself before hammering on the door with your fist. After a few seconds of this, you then lean in and listen for any response. After hearing nothing, blah 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 blah. At the time of the blackout, if everything was going to plan, then Captain Mary should have been on the bridge of the Gundog, not Cassie. Maybe that's the situation here? Spend a few more seconds thinking about other optimistic scenarios before turning away. For all our sakes, Captain, I hope you're not in here. Quarters? It's not the time for that. Okay, wait, focus, we nothing back. Okay. There you go. I think there's no one here. Just a ghost. Just a ghost. Just. Here
Maybe just one.
Foresight. So, before we go to the bridge, I think we should end this episode here. Next time we are reuniting. We will be in the rendezvous point in the bridge. We'll be meeting Hansen back. Oh my god, what a reunion. And yeah, see you guys later. Bye-bye.
Bye.